When most people hear Makita LXT, they think 18 volt, but there is another LXT. Some of you watching may be old enough to remember the heady days of the 90s when tool companies were pumping out tools all over the place in all sorts of different battery sizes, shapes, platforms. It all was a bit messy. And 12 volt was very common, and then along came 14.4 volt, and for a very short period of time before 18 volt took over. But there's one company, at least one company, that has stuck with 14.4 volt all these years and still makes tools for 14.4 volt and batteries, and that's Makita. So in this video we're going to take a look at some of the special features that these batteries have that the LXT 18 volt ones may not have, and what tools they do and do not fit on, that sort of thing. Can you use one of these on an 18 volt tool? Can you use an 18 volt battery on a 14 volt tool? Well, we're about to find out. So what's the difference between the two batteries? Well, first up you can see there's a size difference, a physical size difference. The 18 volt batteries are of course longer. They have 2 more cells in them than the 14.4 volts. Weight on, 2 less cells in an 18 volt. 18 volts minus 3.6 volts, which is the voltage of 1 cell inside this battery, equals 14.4 volts. So surely this should only be 1 cell less. No, the way this works is the cells in both of these batteries are 3.6 volts each. And if you put 5 of them in a row, in series, bang, 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 you will get 18 volts. If you then put another 5 in there, you would get 36 volts if they're all in series. But what they do in these batteries, they put 5 in series and then another 5 in series and parallel them up. So you end up with a higher amp hour 18 volt battery. Same goes with this, except it's 4 cells to make up the 14.4 volt and then another 14.4. So you got 14.4 that are 1.5 and another 14.4 that are 1.5, and that adds up to a 3 amp hour battery. When these batteries came out, you may recall that they did not have a battery indicator on them, whereas now they do. And the battery numbers changed to reflect that. This is a BL1850B. So the original batteries were BL1850. Pretty simple. They added the B for when they put those on. But why B? Why didn't they choose A? Well, this 6 amp hour 14.4 volt is an A. Take a look on the bottom here, BL1460A. 14 volt battery, 6 amp hour, and it is an A. 87 watt hours as well if you wish to know. So what does the A mean? Why is A different? Is it different from a B? Because if we look at this 14 volt battery, you'll see that it's a BL1430 3 amp hour B. So we've got an A and a B. What is different about an A to a B? This is a 3 amp hour 14 volt battery. It's got the 4 red lights. Now 3 at the moment because it's slightly depleted, but we're all used to that, right? On the 14 volt, same as the 18 volt. Let's take a look at this one. Whoa, what's going on there? Instead of 4 red lights, we have 3 green lights and a sort of orangey light. Why are they different colors? What does it mean? Well, this battery is being designed to work in a different way to the other batteries. It's not just different colored lights, but it actually behaves differently as well. When you put it on a tool, when you pull the trigger, the lights come on. While you're using a tool with this battery on, the indicators will stay on. So you can always see at a quick glance how much power you have. Why would you need that? Well, because I've hooked this onto a production tool, that's why. This tool is designed to get an exact torque rating, an exact lengths of time, everything perfect. Now, if you're doing everything perfectly, you need the perfect amount of power as well. If this is dropping too low, you're going to want to change your battery. So they've got the lights always on so you can make sure you've got the right amount of juice. But not only that, when you put this battery on the charger, the lights come on as well. Also, that little light at the end, that's a different color. That is because once it gets to that point, auto stop kicks in. A for auto stop. So when the battery gets to 20% or below, the battery will cut out, stop power to the tool, so that you don't end up under fastening something. Because like I say, made for these production tools, which I am going to be doing a video on very shortly, so I will explain how they all work in that. But yeah, pretty cool battery. Cuts out if the voltage is too low, much quicker than other batteries, and always tells you what's going on. And when you're charging it, you can see what's going on. So yeah, pretty cool. And sort of a nice little bonus feature that would be nice on 18 volt LXT batteries as well as standard, but unfortunately, 'tis not. So being that both batteries are on the LXT system, they basically have the same makeup. They look the same, rails look the same, the connection points and everything are all in the same place. So does that mean they fit on all the same tools? Can I put an 18 volt on a 14 volt? Can I put a 14 volt on an 18 volt? Well, let's start with the basics. Can you charge this 14.4 volt battery on the charger you would normally use to charge your 18 volt battery? Let's take a look. If you take a look at your charger at home, you'll see it says 14.4 to 18 volts under lithium ion, and then we've got nickel metal hydride 7.2 to 14.4, but we'll leave that for another video. So the charger you've already got for your 18 volt batteries will charge a 14.4 volt battery, just like this. Now if we chuck on an 18 volt battery with a B in the model number, what happens? Starts charging, no lights, nothing comes on. You've got to push the button if you want to see it. But if we put on the 6 amp hour here in the 14.4 volt, the one with the A on the battery, watch what happens. So the lights come on, and the lights stay on while it's charging until the power cuts from the charger. So whenever power is being drawn from the battery or is going to the battery, the lights are on. As soon as it's charged, cuts out. So that's quite cool. You can see as you walk past how it's going on the charger. You can see the lights coming on and off. I quite like that, and I wish all of the LXT 18 volt ones had that, but so be it. So presumably they also work on a Makita battery checker. Let's find out. I've got the battery checker out. I've got a freshly flat 18 volt, a freshly flat 14 volt, and a freshly charged 18 volt, and a freshly charged 14 volt. And we are going to check them on the checker and just see what the voltages are at. Because as these get used, the voltage drop. When you charge them, the voltage of course goes back up. So I just want to see what the difference is between the 14 and the 18 and see where they overlap, if they overlap. Right, so we'll start with what feels like the flat 18 volt. So the 18 volt, you can see it's depleted 15.6 volts. So it's on 15.6 volts when it's flat. Well, that's higher than 14.4, right? So does that mean if this battery cuts out at 15, the 14s will not be able to start an 18 volt tool? Well, we'll find that out shortly. Let's take a look at how high an 18 volt battery gets, and I'll explain another number to you here. 20.2 volts. This is why some 18 volt batteries, such as DeWalt in the US, is marketed as a 20 volt tool. They should be saying 20 volt max really to differentiate it, but it's like the 40 volt max batteries are actually 36 volt, and their 40 volt max are actually about 41.5 volt max. And the 12 volt Makita batteries are actually 10.8 volts, they're 12 volt max. But I can't check them on this checker. This checker does 14.4 volts, I hope, 18 volts, and the new XGT 40 volt. Anyway, so 15.6 and up to 20.2. That's the top and the bottom of the 18 volt. So let's now take a look at this one. No, we won't. We'll take a look at the 3 amp hour. Put the 3 amp hour 14.4 volt, which is freshly flat. As you can see, dead as, 3 charges. Whoa, 10.4. So she's significantly lower. So 10.4 volts is never going to run an 18 volt tool. What about the freshly charged one though? Freshly charged 6 amp hour. It's had 4 charges. Nice new batteries, 16.2 volts. So we are in the ballpark of it working. So 14.4 actually starts at 16.2. So 1.8 volts more bang for your buck. You'll also see here on the battery checker we've only got the 4 lines here of the cells. On the 18 volts you get 5 and they're paralleled up. So each one of these is essentially 2 cells. If something's wrong with these cells, it'll drop and you can see that the balancing will be out of whack. You can see which cell in the battery is going wrong, or which pair of cells. Narrows it down to 2. But if you want to know more about the checker and all the other things it does, like I say, up here, down there. And this 6 amp hour 14.4 volt A battery is the only one that lights up when I stick it on the battery checker. Does however turn off, like so, but the other ones don't light up at all. I'll go chuck this 3 amp hour 14.4 volt on the charger and we'll start checking these batteries on some 18 volt tools. Right, we are charged and ready to go. So, will this battery fit on an 18 volt tool? Same looking rails, same connections, fits on the charger, so 3, 2, 1. Look at that. A nice streamlined front now, no sticky outy bit. When I first looked at these 14.4 volt batteries I thought they look a bit weird with the stumpy nose on the front there, but as you'll see I think it actually looks better on some tools. So anyway, it fits on there. Does it actually drive the tool? Sounds alright, eh? What else does it fit on? Everyone's favourite, the 680. Wow. All good. What do you reckon? Visually, I'm kind of liking the 14.4 volt, not to mention a little bit lighter. You may also have seen some tools are labelled as 14.4 volts, such as radios and lights and a few other things like fans and coffee makers and stuff. So they're pretty interchangeable. What about a 28.8 volt angle grinder? Let's take a look-see. Sweet! So it seems these 14 volt batteries work pretty awesome on 18 volt tools. But what about the Starlock Multitool? 3 amp hour fully charged. What? Man, that's getting stiff. Lights coming on. Blade tries to move. But then again, what happens when you put a fully charged 3 amp hour 18 volt on the multi-tool? Same problem. Let me know down in the comments if your Starlock multi-tool works on 18 volt 3 amp hour batteries, because this one won't. Been tried with 2 different 3 amp hour batteries, fully charged, not working. What about the 6 amp hour 14 volt? So there you have it. This multi-tool hates 3 amp hour batteries, no matter what voltage they are. Now, even though these 14 volt batteries fit on the tools and they ran, how well do they run? Let's grab the circular saw again and just listen to how much power we're getting from both of these different systems. We'll try the 6 amp hour, a couple of 6 amp hours, an 18 and a 14. First up, the 14 volt. Sounds pretty good. Stops nicely. Sounds powerful, but does it sound as powerful as the 18 volt? That's a very different sound. We've got a lot more oomph coming out of that 18-volt battery. Oh, and make sure to subscribe, because soon I'll be putting this up against the equivalent 40-volt version. It's a very similar saw, the 40-volt. This is the 680, and I'm going to put that up against the left side blade. Yes, they're finally releasing one. The 40-volt max version. So, sub down there. 14-volt. 18-volt. Very different sound there. Let's drive a couple of screws and just see how much difference it actually makes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it was pretty clear and pretty obvious that the 14-volt battery was not going to do as well on an 18-volt tool as an 18-volt battery, but it still felt quite nice to use. I don't know how long it would last compared to the 18-volt. Probably, you know, still probably just as long, just not as powerful, so therefore it takes longer to do each screw, so therefore you'd get less screws, you know. So it's no great surprise that the 14-volt wasn't as quick as the 18-volt on an 18-volt tool. Who'd have thought? But does an 18-volt make a 14.4-volt tool faster, more powerful? Does it even fit? Let's take a look. This is a 14.4-volt tool. It is programmed to run for 1 second at 350 RPM, and then for 2 seconds at 1850 RPM, and then stop and scream at me like this. Pretty cool, huh? I'll talk more about that in another video. But it's a 14.4-volt tool. Does an 18-volt battery fit? It sort of wants to, but doesn't quite. Why does it not quite? If we look at the rails side on like this, we can see this one is a little bit lower than this one. This one has a higher piece of plastic here. This one, it is missing. It's only a couple of mil, but that couple of mil is what makes all the difference. So a 14.4-volt drill is a bit lower on the right hand side. The left hand side is the same. From above like this, they basically look the same. This side, they look the same. But just there, that is lower than here. And that's what's stopping our battery, because on the tool, on the bottom of the tool, where the tool slides in, that little yellow square there, that tiny little square, that is what catches on that rail. It's so small and innocuous looking, that's all it takes to jam it up. Or does it? Kids, don't try this at home. So when the battery hits that piece of plastic with that higher rail, it tries to push the battery in that direction downwards like this, and jams it. But if you give it a bit of a heave, being that it's only that little yellow piece of plastic that sticks out the side, it is a little bit flexible, and you can muscle a battery on like so. And there we go, still works. Now unfortunately, I don't have any 14.4-volt tools here, apart from production tools, which are set for certain torque ratings and certain RPMs, so it doesn't matter what battery you put on them essentially. It is going to run at the same speed that's programmed into this. 350, 1850. So, yeah. Not a very good test, I'm afraid. And seeing as you're not meant to put the batteries on there, I'll get it off. And we'll leave that at that. How many of you actually still use 14.4-volt batteries? I know they're still common in Japan, and you can get a lot of new Makita tools in Japan on the 14.4-volt system that the rest of us get as 18-volt tools. They do things like the trim router in the 14.4-volt. They released one of those not too long ago. So still a very active system in some parts of the world. Not here. Here they tend to just do a few odd ones, vacuums, lights, maybe accompaniment tools to people who are using these production tools. Don't know. I'm not sure quite what the reasoning is behind the 14.4 volt and the way it's used in this country. But if you do use them, let me know down below. Let me know what tools you've got, why you prefer these over the 18 volt. Size wise, it is nice to be able to use something that's got a fair bit of grunt and runtime, but doesn't have as much weight and doesn't stick out the front. It's nice to have a Makita impact driver that doesn't stick out the front like that. That kind of looks like more what it should be, doesn't it, than the 18 volt ones. Yeah, I mean, we're all used to that, so it kind of looks alright, and it flows fairly nicely, but I don't know, I think I prefer that. And I definitely prefer these lights on the tool. They stand out quite nicely compared to the red ones. I don't really like the red colour. It shows up too well in the sun, on certain angles. This seems to show up a bit better, and the fact that it lights up on the tool when you clip it on. Look, as soon as I take it off, lights up. Put it on the tool, lights up. So that is quite cool. So whenever power is detected going in or out of the battery, it lights up. Whereas batteries that have a B instead of an A don't do that. Nothing. Just a cool little extra feature. Okay, I think that is about it. What do you think of the 14.4 volts? Let me know down below. And all of these tools will be coming up in a video very soon. Thanks for watching. Maybe it's already been out, who knows. Subscribe, like, etc. I'll see you on another one soon. Don't forget the 50,000 subscriber giveaway. Yep, I'm giving away a purple Makita impact driver, either 18 or 40 volt. I'm giving away another one on Patreon, so that's 2 of them. So if you want the chance to win 2, check out the link in the description and head over to Patreon. At the moment, you've got a far better than 1 in 100 chance of winning one of those if you're on Patreon. And I'll see you on another one real soon, and we'll have the draw for those not too far away because we're nearly at 50,000. So yeah, thanks guys, see you on another one.